Actually, I do know what else to say. I don't like making apologies because I think words don't matter. But I do think changed actions and changed behaviors do.
Asmongold is one of the most hated streamers online. There are a lot of reasons why people hate him.
Much moral values. He seems to basically flip-flop between any type of argument which basically benefits him to his audience. He doesn't have any moral...
But there's also a reason he's often misunderstood, and one of them is being disgusting, especially with the way he lives. Asmon is a guy who once said he used the smell of a dead rat as an alarm clock because the heat would bring the stink back and wake him.
Then it would start smelling again, and then the smell would wake me up. So I would use the...
Or that one time on stream when a roach flew at him and started crawling on his shirt.
There's a roach flying at me. Give me a minute. Where'd he go? Oh, shit! He's on my belly. Look at him.
He even tried not showering for a month and a half.
This is a shirt that I wore for a month.
Years later, when he woke up and smelled a dead animal again, he went into the attic to track it down, and he ended up falling straight through his ceiling. Something he said could have easily gotten him killed. But with the amount of money he makes, why can't he just, find someone to clean his mess? That's literally what other streamers like Denims and QT Cinderella were clowning him for. And Asmongold clapped back, saying he doesn't believe in hiring cleaners and that paying someone else to deal with it is the pampered streamer way out.
Delivered to them. They live a pampered life of luxury. They have house cleaners come in and clean their house. You know what happens when I want to clean my house? I clean my house. That's what happens.
If he wants his room cleaned, he'll clean it himself. That's it. He lives like a man in poverty. He could have a luxury mansion, but he won't because it would be a hassle. Even recently, he only had one sink that would work in the house. Unironically, Jesus would live exactly like Asmon, even if he was the richest man alive. Another streamer who constantly goes after Asmon is, of course, Hasan Piker. Every time he's losing an argument or just wants to take a shot at Asmongold, Hasan always pulls the same two cards, Asmon's room or his hygiene. For example, the moment Asmon responds to QT and Denims, Hasan posted this, or when he pulled up the blood wall. Sure, it's disgusting, but this comment honestly nails it. It doesn't matter how unhygienic he is, he's the living proof you can do the most retarded shit and still have common sense at the same time. Can't be that hard to rub two brain cells together, but somehow y'all still manage to be worse than him on the most basic takeaways. That's the most disappointing part. And honestly, that's the problem. These people don't want to listen to him or accept his takes or points because of his hygiene or how he lives. Meanwhile, people criticizing him have clean rooms or look like they shower every day, but they still have their own unhinged takes or controversies. For example, Hasan saying on stream that someone should kill Rick Scott. He's also been clipped making threats toward his previous dog, and even getting caught shocking his current dog. Or Denims joking about killing Asmon himself for $30,000.
She's so aggressive? Well, it's simple. So how do you deal with a situation like this? It's really easy. I contacted Twitch about it earlier. I sent them the clip, and we'll see what happens.
Joke or not, that was unhinged, and it was so serious that the FBI got involved. And Asmon did not pursue any charges.
I'll say it. The FBI actually contacted me about that, and I talked to the FBI, and I chose not to pursue any charges or any problems with it.
And whatever these streamers throw at Asmon, every single one of them still gets destroyed. Also, another interesting thing about Asmon is that if you look back years ago or check his oldest videos and compare them to what he's uploading now, not much has changed. But yes, Asmon is basically a millionaire, so why is he not living like one? Why is he still living the same way he did years ago?
In terms of having a lot of wealth, I live in my same house, I use my same desk, I, for a very long time drove my same car, I eat in the same places, I do the same things. I really haven't changed at all, honestly.
There's actually an interesting story behind it. Back when he was in high school, he admits he used to be the kind of kid who cared about brands and looking cool, Nike, nice shoes, that kind of stuff.
I went to a more upscale, a richer high school where You know, it wasn't like super rich or anything like that, but it was definitely more upscale. You had the kids who would drive the Hummers to school.
He actually went to 2 high schools. The first one was rich, but not that rich. At that school, he saw kids with expensive cars and nonstop status flexing, and it disgusted him. That's when he realized he was doing the exact same thing, just with cheaper stuff.
To those people, I thought it was so superficial and so worthless and so meaningless that it was just very off-putting and weird to me. And then I realized that I was also looking in a mirror. I realized that while those people were doing this same thing, I was just doing it to a lesser extent. And if I had as much money as they did, I'd be just like them.
He gives a clear example. He likes having a cheap car because if something happens to it, it doesn't take over his mind. A luxury car would leave him constantly stressed, always worrying about damage, weird noises, or even who parks next to him. To him, expensive things aren't just nice things. They're things you have to maintain, protect, and constantly think about. Luxury costs peace of mind, not just money.
I think there's a certain amount of freedom that comes with not having things of luxury, because you don't have to worry about upkeeping them. You don't have to worry about, keeping them clean or keeping them safe or keeping them in the right condition. I don't have to worry about those things.
And having things feels like a burden because every new object becomes another problem. Asmon also has a balanced take on buying stuff. He's not saying you should never buy anything. He says, buy what makes you happy. So is he actually living a humble life? According to him, no.
The real answer of why I live a humble or why I live a simple life is that I don't. I live the most extravagant, great life I could possibly ever imagine. I'm surrounded by my friends.
But that doesn't mean you're supposed to live like him. Asmon himself says people should not live the way he does.
Nobody should watch my stream and say, I want to be like this animal. Listen, I don't think anybody with a successful life should want to be like me. And I really mean that.
And it's not like he never tries to clean. Well, it's not just often. And if he really wants to clean, he wants to do it himself. Like when he cleaned his room in 2026. He was completely exhausted, saying his legs hurt, his arms hurt, his back hurt, and even admitted he found multiple rotten burritos in the mess. Sure, what he does is disgusting, but it's also weirdly human. Asmon is genuinely honest, and there's a kind of wisdom in it. It might sound like a bit of a stretch, but it would be cool and funny at the same time that Asmon kind of reminded me of this Greek philosopher who was really smart and famous, but decided to live in a barrel. And that guy is Diogenes. And bro really lived extremely simply and believed the best way to live was by following nature, without caring about possessions or social rules. He didn't care about bathing, proper housing, or appearances, because he believed those were artificial needs created by society, not nature. He basically owned nothing, just a cloak, a staff, and a wallet, and he even ditched his cup after seeing a kid drink with his hands because the kid was keeping it simpler. And this guy, by the way, was actually not born broke. His dad was a money changer, so he could have stayed rich, but he didn't want to. And the most famous and funny thing about him is when he actually met Alexander the Great. When Alexander asked if he could do anything for Diogenes, Diogenes replied with the most disrespectful, based answer in history. He told Alexander to move the fuck out because he was blocking his sunlight. What an absolute chad. To the point that Alexander said, "If I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes." I love this guy. What a legend. And imagine how much funnier it would be if Asmon was just a reincarnation of that guy, but now a streamer, and is rich, but still lives like a homeless guy. Now, the second thing people hate about Asmongold is his political takes, and most of the discourse around him usually involves controversial topics. Like in 2024, he went live and said this.
They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way. They'd be doing the same thing.
The backlash was instant, and Twitch gave him a 2-week suspension. But unlike other creators who can't take accountability, Asmon publicly admitted he was wrong and even stepped down from leadership at OTK. saying the experience was a much-needed wake-up call.
People in that way that was unfair. It's wrong for me to have done that. I said something that was bad. I should not have said that. I should have chosen my words more carefully.
Now around April 2025, a clip surfaced of Asmon saying every trans kid is actually a victim of a parent with a mental illness.
That's why I said as an adult, is because like if you're a kid and like you get fed a lot of propaganda and like messaging, like I feel like every trans kid is actually a victim of a parent with a mental illness. That's what I believe. And so like I really, and this you got a kid that's like 17, right? I mean, it's a little bit more, you know, it's like not really as definitive. But like if you have a kid that's like pre-puberty and they're trans, your parents have a mental illness. That's it.
The same view shows up again when he calls a mom mentally ill for wanting her son to be castrated so he could be treated like a girl. This comes up in the case of Jeff Younger, who was in a custody battle over his twin sons. Jeff says that when his son James was around 3 years old, the mom wanted him treated as a girl and even used the name Luna.
No, I'm a girl.
Who told you you're a girl?
What?
Mommy.
According to Jeff, the mom started socially transitioning James at a very young age. The child only presented as a girl when he was with her, and Jeff tried to stop it by going to court. At the very start of the video, Asmon can't believe what he's watching.
Just search for Mommy Says I'm a Girl. You'll find that video.
That is grooming, man. Like, how is a parent trying to like groom their kid into being trans at 2 and 3 years old? That's insane. This is crazy. Put her in jail, yes.
Asmon sees this as grooming and abuse, especially because we're talking about a kid that young.
I think that a lot of women, like, and this is especially true, I think women fall victim to this more often, is that, like, the social messaging and, like, the moral virtue of being trans, I think causes women to have, like, so there's a fucking issue, like a mental disorder, it's called Munchausen by proxy.
He says the mom is mentally unwell and compares it to Munchausen by proxy, which is when a parent pushes a problem on their child to get attention, sympathy, or validation for themselves. Asmon also has a negative reputation with some artist communities, to the point that some of them even call him a psycho. And this, by the way, from a former Asmon fan.
Hours on fan art of him, only for him to shit on it and completely, and McConnell had to step in and tell him to chill and thank me.
But they got really upset after Zach criticized his art, all because Asmon's favorite weapon was too tiny.
And like, what is this dreadnought armor? And like, look at that mace, that's not demise.
And what Zach did to fix it pissed off many artists. Because bro used AI to resize the mace, posted it on Twitter, and a lot of people called it disrespectful.
Baldy triggered the art community.
Bad news.
The streamer who's fixing art with AI got obliterated. What is this here?
But obviously, Asmon is just rage baiting. Bro even thanked the fan who made the art. So Asmon decided to commission the artist to redo the art as a redemption arc, but with a challenge. Asmon was willing to pay $1,000 to have it redrawn, and the entire internet would vote on it through a public poll. If the art got over 50% yes votes, the artist would get the money. If not, they'd get nothing. But since the artist was receiving a lot of backlash, they started claiming what they did was just rage bait, locked their replies, made their account private, and even blocked Asmongold.
And check his Twitter, he said he was rage baiting and he turned off the replies. No, he did not. You did not. You did not. I forgot how much fun I love rage baiting. This is so fun.
Another controversial take is when Asmon said this.
We fought a war over. And so that's it. America is not white people's land. That's Europe. Well, it is. It absolutely is white people's land. We fought a war over it.
And the internet lost it. And of course, other streamers and creators started responding, like XQC and Metatron. Or as some comments would say, I'm an American who happens to be black. Asmon is right. I don't care if white supremacists agree with him. If the Austrian painter said 2 + 2 = 4, it doesn't change math. It just means even racists know how to do basic arithmetic. As a non-white immigrant, I'd say America is 100% a white country, and it should remain so. But on the other side, some people take it as racist and historically brain dead because it ignores Native Americans. Now, aside from his many controversies, Asmon has also faced serious accusations. Like, for example, when a post on X blew up and accused Asmongold of being a PDF file. It claimed that he dated a girl who was 17 while he was in his 30s.
122,000 likes about me being a pedophile. That's pretty crazy. And then you also have, by the way,
the post gained massive engagement before it was deleted. Asmon immediately responded.
And to me, it's really funny for me to see this happen. They just run out of actual stupid things to complain about, and now they write out fan fiction as well.
He also mentioned that he is already involved in a lawsuit and is openly considering suing the person who made the post.
Like, I'm already in a lawsuit, right? I'm already regularly talking to lawyers. Maybe I should sue this guy.
Legal Mindset responded as well.
Asmongold has a very clear defamation case that he should pursue if he decides that's worth it for himself.
He points out that hiding behind a username does not really protect you, because subpoenas exist, which means a court can force platforms to hand over who is behind an account.
But because he is Asmongold, he has this golden opportunity to go through with a defamation lawsuit. So let's get into it. What are the parts?
When Asmon reacted to that video, he pointed out that the original poster was verified, meaning they were not truly anonymous in the first place. It was also explained that Kaisi is actually in her 20s, and that the underage rumor came from a misread birthday post. Asmon also clearly said that Kaisi was 23, not barely legal, and not 17 in any form. And when Asmon started talking about suing, the post was deleted a few hours after he mentioned it publicly. He also described the deletion as an attempt to remove potential evidence. Now, a few days before the accusation, Asmon was also involved in a different controversy. Is he buying views? Some people are calling his audience fake because Hasan Piker is accusing Asmon of viewbotting on Twitch. But so you can understand why this is a big deal, let me give you some context. Back in July 2025, Twitch support said they updated their systems to get better at spotting viewbots and fake viewers. Twitch CEO Dan Clancy also talked about updating the code for catching viewbots, saying it's a tricky process, and they don't want to accidentally take out real users. When viewership for a lot of streamers started dropping around August 2025, Twitch pushed back and said misinformation was spreading, mostly coming from third-party data and tracking sites. Twitch said those numbers were wrong and didn't come from Twitch itself. Now, around January 2026, Hasan starts by reading chatters claiming Asmon is always boosted. But Hasan says he only started believing the viewbotting accusation after the August crackdown, when Asmon's numbers dropped below him.
When a viewer signed up same day for the first time ever, has like this weird botted ass username, okay? Because they know what the naming conventions are, they can tackle it from that aspect. And they know when that user is exclusively watching one content creator from the moment that they start streaming.
Hasan even posted this on Twitter saying, when Twitch purged bots, Asmongold lost half his viewership for 2 days and stopped streaming on the 3rd day. He's also openly admitted that someone must be botting him. For some reason, Hasan started adding how Asmon and his audience are coping and throwing in accusations and weird political insults that don't make any sense. The topic here is viewbotting, so how do ICE and murdering moms even get into the conversation? And whether you agree with the politics or not, that argument doesn't actually prove anything about the bots. Asmon responded by posting his actual stream averages from that period. As you can see, the numbers show a dip, but not anything close to losing half his viewers, and the streams didn't stop. Verifiable false information, as always. Of course, Hasan finds a way to clap back and keeps the accusation. He admits the half his viewers line was wrong, but says the charts still look sketchy. Bro even stops talking about analytics and starts talking about politics, claiming Asmon's audience is falling off for ideological reasons. Bruh. He lost the argument and is now quickly changing the topic. My god, I can't believe this guy. So Asmon just responded with a seal. Diabolical. Nah, sorry, you ain't winning this one. Get therapy, Hasan. Why are you so obsessed with Asmon? Your own viewers are bugging you to stop obsessing over him. Does your girlfriend not give you enough attention? Seems like jealousy. So on stream, Asmon responds to Hasan's tweet by pulling up Hasan's public Twitch tracker analytics, and he says that if there are bots on his channel, that isn't him doing it. And he's not blaming Hasan for spikes or follower activity either. The issue is the logic itself. It feels wrong to accuse someone of viewbotting based only on charts, especially when the same kinds of dips and spikes show up on Hasan's own public stats too. And to be fair, Asmon has a point here.
Actually crazy how much he tweets and talks about me.
Context, he got mad because someone posted this and then Asmon double ratioed him.
So basically he goes out and he says, when Twitch turds bots, Asmongold lost half his viewership for 2 days and stopped streaming on the 3rd day. And so obviously then I reply, and it's like, this is just, it's clearly not true. It's not like I quit streaming. And this is the thing, is that Hasan, he just lies about things regularly. And I think this is the big problem that he has.
Because there are real cases where the bots might not be coming from the streamers at all. Sometimes it's fans doing it because they think they're helping their favorite streamer, and this was actually explained by another streamer, Tectone, and backed up by Devin, who works on the sponsor side of Twitch, which I'll show you later. But first, Hasan of course goes live again and starts doubling down. His chatters say Asmon has double your view count, and Hasan responds with this.
Asmongold could bot to 100k viewers or have 100k real viewers. That doesn't change that I'm correct on this argument. You know what I mean?
Now this is coping right here. Right back at you, buddy. Bro didn't even win the argument because you stopped talking about viewbotting and switched to politics. That's why Asmon replied to your tweet with a seal, because bro didn't know what to say.
Midterm pivot. I didn't really know what to say to that. I just posted the seal. Yeah, it went lower for sure. But you know what else?
But Hasan keeps pushing it.
Like, what? You don't have an argument, so you just lean into this? Okay, go bot him more then. Go buy him more bots. Does anyone have a link to Twitch tracker real quick? Now that we got some cockroaches in the chat. The question is...
Anyone have a link to Twitch tracker real quick now that we got some cockroaches in the chat? And bro is inhaling even more copium when he says that if Asmon had a real audience of like 60k, it still wouldn't change anything for him because he thinks he's right either way.
Even if he had a real audience of 60,000 viewers, that still wouldn't change the, the argument here. It has nothing to do with anything. He suspiciously stopped streaming for a couple days.
And he says he doesn't think Asmon did it himself. He claims someone is doing it for him. And he calls Asmon a very insecure person. What? The only person who sounds insecure here is you. But sure, he's actually right about one thing. Asmon isn't botting himself. Because, like I said, sometimes it's fans doing it because they think they're helping their favorite streamer. Even Tectone talked about this a few months ago. According to him, Twitch has had a viewbot problem for years. Around early August, there were massive drops, and that's when a lot of fake viewers suddenly disappeared.
Talk about that thing that I've been telling absolutely everybody on this platform for years has been going on. Today, we are talking about the great issue that Twitch has been having with viewbots, not just with viewers, not just with chatters.
So even if a channel gets botted, that doesn't mean the streamer ordered it. It can be fans trying to boost the numbers or sponsors trying to make the stream look bigger to get more money.
I have already told you guys the companies that viewbot. I told you guys that AT&T viewbotted me for $20,000. For my show Emote Only. I told you guys that Progressive was viewbotting me for $30,000, and I even demonstrated with Caroline Kwan and Will Neff, both of them being botted for $50,000 for Progressive. But here's the difference.
He even admitted he's been offered viewbotting before and said yes back then, which shows how casual and normalized viewbotting has been on Twitch. And this was confirmed by someone on the sponsor side of Twitch. So around July 2025, Devin Nash actually explained how viewbotting messes with sponsors and ads. This guy, by the way, isn't just some random dude online. He works on the money side of Twitch. He helps brands run ads and sponsorships with streamers, and he's been doing that for years. So in his posts, he talks about how viewbotting is a big problem, especially from the sponsor side, where real money is involved. He said this all started when his team noticed something off while running ads on Twitch. Huge streams weren't selling well, smaller mid-sized streams were doing better. At first, that seemed normal. Bigger audience, worse engagement, yada yada yada. All of that makes sense. But he noticed that some big streams still did really well, as long as the viewers were clearly real. That's when he started thinking some channels had fake viewers boosting the numbers, and he says this isn't rare. According to him, a lot of top channels are affected, and he even guesses that most of the top 500 have some kind of botting going on. That part is just his take though.
Viewbot streamers are notoriously dumb. There's a couple of smart people that are getting away with it that we'll talk about in a little while.
Not something Twitch has confirmed. He also says the bots don't always come from the streamer. Sometimes it's agencies or managers doing it just to make the stream look bigger so they can charge more. So when you see weird spikes or drops, that alone doesn't mean the streamer did anything. He also explains why Twitch doesn't always step in. It's hard to prove who actually ordered the bots. If Twitch can't tell whether it was the streamer or someone else, they hesitate to act. And that's how the problem keeps going. According to Devin, this of course hurts everyone. Brands stop trusting Twitch numbers, sponsors pull back, and creators end up paying for it. So even if thousands or millions of people point at charts and accuse someone of viewbotting, it still doesn't answer the main question. Even if someone looks botted, it doesn't tell you who actually did it. Someone asked Devin a great question that really got me curious. Why can't you tell who is likely viewbotting by looking at their ratio of viewers to paying subscribers? Devin answered it, but I'll try my best to explain it and make it easier to understand. Trust me, I had to read over this a couple of times. Hi Devin, this might be a dumb question, but why can't you tell who is likely viewbotting by looking at the ratio of viewers to paying subscribers? I know there is a variance there even between legit streamers, but surely some numbers must stick out like a sore thumb. And Devin says, this is a great question and actually identifies a whole different problem. A lot of streamers get thousands of gifted subs for tons of reasons and skew these numbers. You can look at strictly paid T1 subs versus viewers, but variance is high and doesn't give a reliable indication of viewbotting. Some 30 to 50 viewer streamers have 800 to 900 or more subs, some have 20 to 30 subs, etc. This might help identify viewbotters in extreme instances, but the methodologies we used were a slam dunk to show that 30 to 40% were fake accounts, or unknown or not logged in, so we didn't need anything else. I don't know how to get more specific than we already did without back-end access to Twitch tools. So a lot of streamers get gifted subs, like a lot, sometimes thousands at once. That completely messes with the numbers. You end up with people who are subscribed but don't actually watch, don't show up again, or aren't even logged in half the time. So the sub count gets inflated for reasons that have nothing to do with real viewership. On top of that, Twitch has lots of lurkers. People with the stream open in the background, muted, tabbed out, or not logged in at all. A lot of them are just there to claim item drops for whatever game they want to play. And even though those viewers don't behave like normal users, yes, they still count. So when you try to compare viewers to subs, the numbers are all over the place. The numbers don't line up cleanly enough to prove anything. Devin did say there are rare cases where the numbers look insane. For example, let's say there's a streamer who usually gets like 30 to 50 viewers on average, but somehow has 800 or 900 subscribers, which is obviously really sus. But it's still not a slam dunk. You still can't say for sure it's viewbotting without Twitch's backend data. So whatever Hasan is trying to pin on Asmon is a weak accusation at best. Bro can say whatever he wants, but that doesn't prove anything. So subscribe or Hasan will give you a shot caller to replace Kaya.